Women's Day and the color is purple.
Guys, I don't. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Detour Essentials Live. Happy International Women's Day. Welcome back, Nai. We missed you last
I
week.
miss I miss you guys so much. Life was lifing. That's a theme for this year. So really great. I couldn't even watch the show. But I heard it
Yes.
was amazing.
It was
Yes.
so good. So good.
So, guys, this week, this year, the theme for International Women's Day is embracing equity. All right. Equal opportunities are not enough. The theme for UN Women this year is digital, and we shared that last week, innovation and technology for gender equality. And, it's very important. And we've been sharing about this from last week, why it's so important for us to develop equity and not just equality, right? Because we know it's at the world level. So we are extremely excited to use our platform to help to build others, to develop that equity by building other people. And it's definitely something that we don't take lightly.
Absolutely.
So if you're joining us for the first time, let us know where you are joining us from. And in the meantime, we'll go ahead and do our introductions. Nai, since you
Oh, I get to go first
are back,
today.
yes.
Okay.
You last week, I pretended to be you last week.
Oh, yes. No, you need to go and watch last week's episode if you haven't, because Rochelle did your introduction.
Wait, like what do you mean without me being there?
She pretended that she was you. Not to be missed.
Oh my God. Okay, I definitely need to watch this after. So, hi everyone. My name is Naomi Garrick, also known as the PR Chick. I am the CEO and founder of Garrick Communications, and I am also a personal branding coach and trainer. Essentially, I'm a brand builder. So I help individuals, companies, and brands to really stand out in a noisy world by getting clarity on what their unique value is so that they can really communicate that confidently to their ideal audience. I'm also a very proud member of the Emerge Trio with Catherine and Rochelle. So I'm super excited to be back. Happy International Women's Day. We are all embracing equity. And we have a super exciting show tonight.
Yes.
Well, I will go next because I know Rashi's going to have her. Hi, everybody. I am Kathy Goodall. I am a leadership and growth coach. I am a marketing consultant, a brand builder, a business builder, a people builder. And of course, and I'm very proud to be a part of the Emerge Trio.
Listen, Shanna Case, I can't listen to this now without hearing Rochelle in my head. So now I need to watch the intro. I just hear what she said. Rochelle, let me hear it live.
How did we not tell? How did we not tell you?
And I spoke to you so many times, I didn't mention it. I feel like I didn't say about it. What's
No,
going
on? Good night, Rochelle. Over to you.
Good night, everyone. My name is Rochelle Cameron, daughter of Marcia, who I spent 2 glorious weeks with.
Yeah. And I'm very upset that she left before I came.
Yes, and I'm an attorney at law for most hours during the day, but I use that particular skill as a platform for the rest of my business, which is about people building, people development, and helping businesses of all different sizes utilize their people resources, motivate and engage their people, bring out the best, unleash the brilliance in their people to truly affect the bottom line. So I am the CEO and founder of Prescient Consulting Services Limited, and prescient means prophetic and visionary, and I'd like to think of myself that way. Prophetic and visionary. My lipstick look nice too.
You look nice. It's matching your outfit.
Yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't have clothes to wear purple today. I'm sorry.
No, but you look pretty. Your hair just look bouncy. Your hair looks
You know what I was thinking? Like, first of all, I'm sure I've worn this on Emerge before, but I don't care. It's mine.
I don't think
and it's the only purple top I have. So I'm wearing it again.
I own this dress today. I was like, oh gosh, I need something purple. It's one of my maternity dresses.
Look at you.
Look at me. I mean, what does that say?
I'm sure it doesn't look maternity on you.
Just like how during the whole maternal experience, you
nobody knew she was pregnant.
Going through that at all.
That's right. Hi,
So
Lorianne.
no, see, even Alani is talking about this intro, and Fiona, I have to like watch it. I'm
So,
dying.
guys, what does International Women's Day mean to you?
So
Share with us in the chat and let us know what International Women's Day means to you. Hi, Barbie.
I feel like, isn't that my part of the script, Cat?
Oh, nice.
So
Go
before
with
we
the flow.
even
I'm
get
trying to
into
get you
that,
back on track so we can jump into our
what,
guest.
so while everyone's talking about what embracing equity means, before we even get into that, guys, I don't think we reminded you of who we are. So for those joining us for the first time, this is Ready to Emerge Detour Essentials Live. We are here every Wednesday when we're in season. This is actually season 8 for us. And
Yeah.
this is episode what, ladies? We're at episode 4,
Tree.
3, 4, 1, 2, 3.
Three. Well,
Episode 3, season 8. We're here every night streaming, every Wednesday, streaming at 8 p.m. from our YouTube channel, Ready to Emerge, and also on Facebook. And so you can join us for exciting and interesting conversations. We have amazing guests, and we're always just trying to showcase different aspects of life where we can connect and we can really have a great conversation around interesting topics and just what's happening in the world right now. So, as Catherine had mentioned, it's International Women's Day. We're very excited. We love this theme. We love our guests. But for those of you who are not too sure about what embracing equity really means, I mean, coming from the International Women's Day website, what they really say is imagine a gender equal world, a world free of bias, stereotypes, and discrimination, a world that's diverse, equitable, and inclusive, a world where difference is valued and celebrated. Together, we can forge women's equality. Collectively, we can all embrace equity. And that's what it's about. It's about celebrating women's achievements, raising awareness about discrimination, and taking action to drive gender parity. So, as Catherine has suggested, we'd love to hear what embracing equity means for you on this International Women's Day. We have a super exciting guest. This is someone that's been on our list for a while, so we were very happy to have her. We know we have Rochelle, that is the person that really is going to get into what that intro is. So I will even try to steal Rochelle's thunder, even though
excuse me, we have to pause because Livy and Dylan said hello. Hi, Papa. Hi, Livy.
look at that.
Listen, they came just for our guest, okay?
And I frozen with
So we share Dylan, and so we don't mention the mother. We don't say
Oh,
hi,
hi,
Gabby. We
Gabby.
just mention the children.
Hi, Gabby. Yeah, it's Rush's
Hi,
sister,
Gab.
so she can say hi.
That's my sissy.
Shucks. Well, you know, this is an exciting episode when we have
Letitia, hi.
old Libby, and how old is Dylan? 4,
Papa is 3.
3 joining this episode
Yeah.
specifically.
That's right. I told you, my niece knows the words for every song that have Toni-Ann in there.
But you know, it's funny. Today, International Women's Day, I got a message today from Nasha. And
Yes.
it was a voice note that said,
Yes.
today, maybe we could just celebrate ourselves by just stopping
And
and
we can
rest.
sleep, right? It says something about sleeping, right?
So I have been struggling with the flu just for the last couple of days, and today I was just completely out of it. But I thought about this whole concept of being woman, just how many people we are through an entire day. So even when we introduce ourselves, we give a microcosm of what our real lives are like, and how many things and people we're managing through the day, how many various personalities we have to be, and just sometimes how tiring it is to show up all the time. People are constantly looking and checking to see what you have on, if your hair is done, if you look mash up, and then we have some unrealistic expectations of what it is like. So even as we're celebrating Women's History Month, I just think it is an important time for us to pause and do that reclaiming of ourselves, because I think we kind of get lost in the melee of the different people we create and different people that we are expected to be. It's a lot. It's a lot.
So,
It's
Roy,
a
I can just speak to that shortly. So as you can see, I'm obviously not at home, right? I had a shoot in Orlando, and luckily the production team were kind enough to lend me a lighting kit so that I could have some light in this room to come up for Emerge. But even before that, I was traveling before that, came back to Jamaica, came back very, very sick, took some amazing antibiotics, and 5 days later discovered that I was allergic to same antibiotics. So my entire body literally was covered in red spots for the last maybe 4 or 5 days. So this is the first day that I'm wearing something sleeveless. So in hot Jamaica, I've been in long sleeve tops for the whole week because my entire body was covered in these things. But as women, as you say, Rachel, we don't take a moment to kind of stop. Like I'm just like, all right, so my body's itching everywhere, but I have work, so I need to just put on a long sleeve shirt and get on the flight and do what I need to do. But so when I got that message as well from Nasha today, I was like, whoa, maybe when you go home tomorrow, you need to just like take the
Not
rest
do
of the day off
anything.
and you just need to sleep because we
Yeah,
just need to take a minute to just, be.
just to be, man. And yo, sometimes we just have to stop and just celebrate ourselves. Just celebrate that we woke up, that we cut and go through. That sometimes the other day I was listening to the sound of my voice. I do not often listen to the sound of my voice. So I was explaining something in a meeting, and I thought to myself, you're pretty good at what you do. I had been stressing so much about so many other things that I was just reeling off the thing. And I'm like, you don't even stop sometimes and say, God, you're good here. Look how much things you teach me. And I think this is a lot of the equity that we have to embrace is us. So of
Yeah.
course today I picked up one of my favorite books again, Radical Awakening. And just to remind us of a few stanzas of that poem, and I know Naomi love a thing like stanzas. And I think I'm going through an awakening. But it's funny with awakenings and with life. Sometimes we think that there's one at 30, one at 35, da, 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 or nothing happens. I've lived all of my dreams, but life is this continuum. So we're constantly waking, awakening, defining.
Yeah.
So the time of the awakened woman, there comes a time in the life of a woman when she discards her old ways like tossed shoes in the garbage, when she shreds her list of shoulds and obligations, and when impossible expectations are burned in an incinerator. There comes a time in the life of a woman when the approval of others, once jewels, now turn to pennies in her sock, when the hunt for another is now replaced by a hunt for herself, and when parental tentacles of tradition no longer define her truth. There comes a time in the life of a woman when her desire to fit in with the crowd dissolves, when her manic compulsion to be perfect vaporizes, and when her obsession to be voted popular eviscerates. There comes a time in the life of a woman when she simply says, no more. When facade, artifice, and guile leave her nauseated, and when righteousness, dogma, and superiority repulse her. There comes a time in the life of a woman when she no longer fears conflict, but faces it boldly like a lioness, when she guards her authenticity as fearlessly as she guards her babies, and when she drops the role of savior, knowing she can only save herself. There comes a time in the life of a woman when she finally releases her childlike dependencies on others, when she dares to rewrite a new mandate of living for herself, one that says, I release unworthiness and fear. I divorce servility and passivity. I divest inauthenticity and enmeshment. I end the pretense of being someone I am not. And from now on, I declare I will ascend into my highest power. I will embrace my greatest autonomy. I will celebrate my deepest worth. I will embody my fiercest courage and manifest the most authentic me. The time is now. I am ready to awaken into my renaissance. So happy International Women's Day, ladies.
All right. Woo, love that. And that book is called Radical Awakening.
Right here by Dr. Shefali.
Awesome. All right, guys. So I see the questions already. We have Miss Trinidad and Tobago online, and she's already asking, like, listen, guys, is this a Toni-Ann Singh thing or what? Like, what's happening here?
He's like, girls, I looking on the screen. I do not see Tony, and am I on the right link? On the right link, girl. So today, as we celebrate International Women's Day, we celebrate a beauty, a gem from the parish of St. Thomas. Can you imagine being the longest reigning Miss World in history? She was just so beautiful and so awesome that she had to do it all over again. She is proud of her heritage. She is passionate. She is actually hilarious. She's a character. And she's a young woman who is defined by a desire and a yearning to be a champion for other women. We know that soul stirring voice because she's also a recording artist. I remember when she hit that stage at Miss World, we heard her and we were like, oh my God, only a Jamaican. Yeah, and we were so proud of her. And
Singing Whitney.
Singing Whitney, which that's big things. That's graduation. And yes, she is a graduate of Florida State University, where she pursued a psychology and women's studies degree. So it's all lining up. She was head of the Diversity and Inclusion Institute within the campus executive branch. She was an active leader in the Black Student Union and president of the Caribbean Students Association. And we know what that's like being president of the Caribbean Students Association. Now, as Miss World, and remember, she had to do this for 2 years, she was also recognized as the face of beauty with a purpose. She has used her platform and been resolute in her advocacy for numerous women's issues: education, women's empowerment, mental health. And you know what? She epitomizes for us that beyond a beautiful face is a soul within. And tonight we will get a peep into who Toni-Ann Singh is, because you know, say you reach when you're pretty like Toni-Ann Singh. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together. Let's welcome Toni-Ann Singh.
I loved that introduction. Thank you so much. You had me blushing. I'm just
Rochelle has that tendency. Everybody wants to put her in their pocket and take her home.
yes, quite eloquent.
So, Toni-Ann, you are our fourth Miss World.
Yes.
I think the first in about 26 years. I mean, that was such, I mean, I remember watching it like it was yesterday. And I mean, Jamaica was rooting for you. I remember hearing my neighbors screaming down the place, like everybody pop covers, like it was one big excitement. And I remember that shock on your face, like, wait,
Me.
I know them just call? Like, it's me.
You know, actually, it's like the most surreal moment of my life. A lot of people ask me, like, what were you thinking? And I'm like, not much of anything. I remember Miss Nigeria, and the footage is like so great to watch because I can kind of relive it. But she's literally telling me, Jam, you won. And I'm like, no, and she's like, yes, you won, you. And I'm trying to wrap my mind around it. And I can tell you, I'm sitting here with you years later. I still cannot believe it. But I do believe that when God has something for you, it's just yours. I remember a couple nights before, I was going over questions with Miss India. Like, we were very good friends and we were just like keeping each other sharp, I suppose. So we're like, what would you say if they asked this question or this question? And we were getting nervous just practicing. And I remember saying to her, honestly, girl, if it is your crown, you could go up there and say like, blah, blah, blah. And yours. They're going to give it to you, because what God has for you cannot be pried from your hands. And I'm talking to her like this and affirming that for her, but in my mind I'm like, sure, 26 years, I'm 23, me, and then I get on stage and God is like, yes, you, what else can I do? I have to answer. I have to be like, okay, I did say use me as the vessel. I did say send me. This is not exactly what I was thinking, but how can I complain? It's a great honor, and I'm sitting here years later, just so grateful.
Uh,
Mhm.
And we are grateful. As Rochelle mentioned, you're the longest rating, right? That's never happened.
Yeah.
Definitely wasn't expected either. But as you said, what is for you cannot be un for you. So
Yes, exactly.
that was the
and
plan.
and it was an unconventional reign, to be
Yes.
fair, because we had a pandemic. I mean, I remember we were in Nepal and we had some amazing work we were doing in Nepal and are doing in Nepal, and they said we're just gonna send you home for 2 weeks because there's this what was the word for it? We all went into a, not a lockdown, but you know what I'm talking about. They're
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
2 weeks
Yeah.
quarantine.
Quarantine. Yeah.
God have mercy. Okay. We were going into a quarantine for 2 weeks. And then after, we're just going to pick back up and everything's going to be fine. So I'm like, okay, that's great. 2 weeks with my family. And 2 weeks turned into 2 months, turned into just an obscene amount of time. But what's really good about Miss World is, as you said, beauty with a purpose is our
Yes.
hearts. And I say our because one, once a Miss World, always a Miss World, and two, I still very much work with the Miss World organization. So our work is not just physical, although we do prefer that to be able to land in a lot of the countries. And it's not just about the competitions themselves. Beauty with
Yes.
a Purpose is our philanthropy. So we have standings in over like 130 countries. I think a couple more, but I don't want to give you a false figure.
Mm-hmm.
And all of the girls that come to be a part of Miss World have their own project, their own passion, their own purpose, as you will. And whatever it is they're passionate about, they're trying to create active change regarding that in their community, in their country, in whatever ways they can. And we support that. And we donate money that we raise when girls are competing. We donate funds that we just get from people that are also passionate about aiding these women all across the world. So, in India, a big project that we have is these sanitary napkins. It is International Women's Day, so we can talk
Mm-hmm.
about this. In
We can
India,
talk
lots
about
of,
this any day of the week.
yeah, exactly, true. So in India, a lot of young women are not able to go to school because of period poverty.
Yeah.
Um, and I mean, the number is so wild because we know girls are intelligent, we know they're capable, but if things like not having the proper tools to keep themselves clean, especially during that time of the month, don't exist, then it's a very difficult situation. So we've sent these machines, and I wish I could remember the name of the young man that makes them, but he works with us, and we sent these machines to India, where women in the community not only are able to make their own living, being a part of creating the sanitary napkins, but they're biodegradable. And then we're sending them out now to a lot of the young women in different communities in India so that they have what they need, can continue their education. And so it's a circle of just helping women, help women, help women, help women, help women, help women. And we know that in India and in a lot of places in the world, the reason that women don't have their autonomy is because they're not able to provide for themselves. So because of having to rely on a husband, they're not able to make decisions. In India, in some areas, they have to keep their face covered. But when you can provide for yourself, when you can create income for yourself, then you have a say, then you become an active part of the economic standing of your community.
Yep.
And these are things that we get to help support and figure out where to allocate funds during COVID, even though we couldn't be there physically.
Yes.
So when I say that I was advocating, it's not because I'm a very big social media person. I'm not like, hey, please look at the things that I did 1, 2, 3. And I'm learning to be better about that because it builds awareness, but on the other side of things, we were making sure that our Beauty with a Purpose projects all across the world were still getting the aid that they needed and the funding and the love and care that they need to just thrive and keep doing what they're doing.
Absolutely. I
That
mean,
was so long-winded. My
no,
God.
that's fine. I mean, as you know, if you don't share these things, we won't know. And I mean,
Mm.
period poverty is something we have a challenge with right here in Jamaica. So it's
Yes.
something that's
And in
very
the US, believe it or not.
global, right? It is in 2023.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what I want to share, and thank you for sharing that, Toni-Ann, and also just educating our viewers about just some of the challenges that we are still facing today as women.
Yeah.
You know, but what I wanted you to share with us also is that you came onto the scene for most of us as Miss Jamaica World, and then as our, because you are our Miss World, right? Times two. But I'd love you to share a little bit about your journey before Miss World, like the Toni-Ann before the Miss World title. Like we want to hear a little bit about that girl.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let me think. All right. So, yes, I am from St. Thomas on both sides. My mother is from Bath and my dad is from Arcadia. So, I have deep, deep roots in St. Thomas. I had the opportunity, and I say opportunity because I take those things very seriously because I want to give them to other people. So, I had the opportunity to pursue my education in the United States, and I'm grateful for that. um, I can see the difference in me based on those opportunities, but it also makes me very passionate, like even more passionate about bringing those type of opportunities to the people where I'm from in St. Thomas and then
Yeah.
Jamaica and then the world. Like you have to start at home.
Yes.
Um, Let me think. I studied at Florida State University, Gold Knolls, which was a lot of fun. And I remember being on campus my first year and I didn't know anyone. It is a PWI, that means predominantly white institution.
Mm-hmm.
And I, as a brown girl and an immigrant, I did not have a home. So actually, I was taught this a couple years later that a lot of students, if they don't come in through a particular program that's geared towards immigrants, they
Yes.
usually drop out because they don't have the support. Because it is a difficult environment. You are far away from home, you're pursuing your education, but it's a lot of stress. And when you have no community, especially
Yes.
as humans, we need it. When you have no
Yeah.
community, you have a much harder time. So I was looking for a home and I had a TA, and she said, have you ever gone to a Caribbean Students Association meeting? And I was like, no, I don't know where people go. I don't know anything about meetings. I'm just here. So I went and they were having, funny enough, like the Miss CSA and Mr. CSA competition. And it's nothing like Miss World, to be fair. um, but you come out and you do answer a question and you do a little dance. So I guess there are some similarities. And I I wore my prom dress and my mom drove up. It was an entire thing and I won Miss CSA. But the thing about winning Miss CSA is you become a part of the committee for community service, sorry,
Mm-hmm.
for the organization the following year. And I am, yes. And I'm building community. I'm meeting all these Caribbean people. I'm learning about myself. I'm feeling like I have a home. And
Yeah.
that was so important to me that I took that next year, learned all the things that like I thought needed to change so that we could run a little bit better. And I ran for president. And it was this big thing. I don't even know why, because when you're out of college now, you're like, I cared so much at the time. This was so huge to me. But when I became president, thank you God.
So you had like a full-on campaign.
Yeah, and I had an executive board that was running with me, my vice president. Listen, it was a thing. Somebody even tried to steal the election. It was a thing. And
Cameras are real.
it's a nail biting experience, but it was amazing. Like I love looking back at it. And then I became president, and it was interesting because the things that I was really think about was family, creating again like a home environment. So I, Sunday dinners in the Caribbean, we have Sunday dinners.
Mm-hmm.
So then every month now I made it a thing where we have Sunday dinners, and everybody brings like a little dish, or we send money, and everybody comes together. And
Yes.
these things, as
Love that.
simple as it sounds, these things when you're in college and so far away from home, they're really giving you the opportunity to just feel grounded somewhere, to feel like you have a home somewhere. And I love it because I'm away from campus. Those days are behind me, but they still keep the tradition. And sometimes I see pictures of students like my Sunday dinner, and I'm thinking, that's what I wanted. I wanted the community to continue. I wanted the necessary mental
Yeah.
um, push to exist, and it does. Let me think. I was also the head of the Diversity and Inclusion Institute, and to be fair, if we're on a PWI campus, it's hard to talk about diversity
Mm-hmm.
um, because usually there's just enough of the talk to make everybody feel like they've done what needs to be done.
Yeah, you just do what you need to.
Yeah, yeah.
That's generally a problem that we have in corporate.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah,
Doing the bare minimum.
yeah, yeah. And you can talk about it, and you can advocate, and you can try to implement things, but I think that college is really important. Education in that way is important because you're getting a taste of what the real world is
Yep.
like. And so I found myself frustrated just in general by a lot of things, but also just even more, fired up to get people to understand that there needs to be room for us. There has to be
Yeah.
room for us. And I know that I come from a beautiful place, like just a stunning place. But a lot of people are not able to see that beauty because they can't look past what we lack. And that lack is not necessarily by any fault of ours. It actually has historical base.
Yeah.
Um, and if you could look at history and then see us, you would see how resilient we have been. But I
Yeah.
I want to make that space. I want to represent, what we are, what we can be, and try to bring some of the energy back to my parish. I'm always going to talk about St. Thomas. I'm so sorry. I can't.
Yeah, we
Love
know.
that about you. You have like
We know.
really, really. I feel like you have almost like you're putting St. Thomas back in the spotlight.
Yeah,
So
and it
that's a
deserves
great
it.
thing. That's a great thing.
Yeah.
I actually want to say this, and then I'm going to stop being so long winded. I'm not. That's a lie. But
You're on the
um,
right show, girl.
in history, like in the history of St. Thomas, right, we're talking back to rebellion. We're talking
Mhm.
back to when we're fighting for freedom. There was a massacre. My dad is a big historian, and he taught me this. There was a massacre, and they didn't go into St. Thomas. The colonizers didn't go into St. Thomas and just kill. They were very intentional about who. They
Yep.
drained us of a very important resource, which is our manpower. So
Mhm.
they killed off boy children, they killed off men, and left St. Thomas to rebuild with only women. Really, like this is true. This is our reality. And so, especially in a patriarchal society, it would stand to reason that it's even more difficult to get resources to St. Thomas if there aren't men to advocate for those resources to be pulled this way.
Yep.
And it has taken a very long time to even make space for women in government, much less for a place like St. Thomas, which has been drained
Yep.
of that resource, that particular resource, to be able to make any strides. So I am passionate about it because I am a daughter of that soil, and
Mhm.
I am I am very I'm very I'm very sure that a part of my purpose is to pull the eyes towards my parish, which, once we have a road that clears up so much, you can get to Kingston quickly. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
not far. It's just
True.
we don't have access to as much resource as the some other places in our island. And
Yep.
it's okay, but the women will continue to do what we need to do until we can get where we need to get. And
That's
I'm one of
right.
them.
As
Well,
the
ToniAnn gave us like a full-on history lesson about St. Thomas because I'm just like,
Yes.
what?
I wish I had a PowerPoint and like a
I feel like you probably have one, and you just didn't remember to set it up for today.
I know, next time.
But
yes,
that's amazing, ToniAnn. Like, I
good.
love that you so passionately advocate for St. Thomas.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
And I think for everybody that's watching, everybody is like on their phones, Googling, checking things out, because there's a lot that we actually don't know about our history, even where we currently reside.
Mhm.
Yes, Lauren says, thank you for that history. Blow the trumpet for St.
Hi,
Thomas. Yes.
Lorianne.
Like
Lauren
I
is
like
in Canada, freezing her
like
butt off.
googling
Mhm.
Morant Bay Rebellion. Like
It's
So
real.
Tony, having you are best known as Miss World, as the longest
Mhm.
reigning Miss World, and most people recognize you for that. So you're
Mhm.
in kind of like a fishbowl where when you are Miss World, people have a list of things that you are, and
Mhm.
some people may be even surprised that you're such a historian. You've taken so much part in student government and what your
Yeah.
passions are. What is that like? Debunking some of the myths about being Miss World, that you are this one person and you're just pretty, but you're not anything else.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, okay. So two things. I remember the night that I won, somebody was asking me about what do I have to say about the people that think competitions like this are outdated, um something like that type of question. And I was saying the truth of the feminist movement is not that we're all supposed to be these I never cook, I never, that's not the point. The point was that whatever you are as a woman, you were allowed to be that in its fullness, and that there were no limitations on what you could achieve just because you chose to be any certain version of womanhood, right? So I was saying that I chose to fight at this point in my life in a gown that just so happens to be my outfit of choice. I could have put on a suit, I could have put on, but I chose the gown.
Mhm.
That does not make me less of a warrior for my cause. And I have to be very honest. In the Western world, we don't necessarily feel it as deeply, but in the rest of the world, this platform and these platforms give a voice to women that we don't often have access to. And I'm going to be very transparent. I was in Jamaica asking for help for the Women's Center, asking for donations, and nobody was listening to me.
Wow.
And then I went and I won Miss World, and I came back, and the same people that had no interest in having conversations with me were writing checks to the women's centers of Jamaica.
Yes.
And so I have to realize that if this is a skill or a advantage that I can leverage to create the change that I want to create, then yes, I will show up to battle in a gown. But that does not necessarily mean this is who I am all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Fishbowl, no, is sometimes frustrating, but it comes with the territory, right? I have to understand there's a give and take,
Mhm.
especially in this industry, especially in this time where social media pries into the like the walls of your world. They want to know everything and pick it apart. So I
Mhm.
know it comes with the territory, and I take it in stride. I'm very grateful to people for even caring when they do care. and for stopping me and giving me so much love and light when they spend their energy to do that, because they don't have to. But on the
Yeah.
other side, I'm very private and I'm very careful with my space and my mental health, because it does get difficult. And
Absolutely.
sometimes people are not willing to allow you to grow or allow you to show other parts of yourself, because they have decided for you,
Oh,
this
yeah.
is who you are,
Who
this
you
is
are.
all
Yeah.
you can be. I want to be very honest. He's a country girl. I am from St. Thomas. I have had wonderful opportunities to learn and to grow in wonderful parts of the world. So I have a wide scope, but at my heart, I am a Jamaican woman, and I'm revealing myself more and more, and I can say that Jamaica, especially, which is a tough crowd. Let's be honest.
We are very tough is not
Very
even a
tough
word. I don't even
crowd.
know that kind of word.
Crowd has really been accepting me showing more and more of myself. And even when I'm traveling and people stop me, they're like, just we're praying for you. And that type of energy means so much to me, because if nowhere else, knowing that my home supports me and wants me to succeed and wants me to do well, I don't take that for granted. So it's a learning curve, but I'm grateful for the process. I'm grateful for the journey of it all.
Lorianne says, what's the difference with a gown and a suit? Use what is in front of you to accomplish your purpose. So well put. Girl, fight in a gown. I think that's
Exactly.
strong.
That could be like a whole tag. That could be a whole campaign, Toni-Ann.
Yeah. Okay,
That could be a
because
whole
Fight
campaign.
in fight in a gown.
me and you later.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here for it. That's a
No,
whole
but it's
campaign
so
right there.
true. It is so true. I mean, they have all these men can just show up angry, show up mean, just show
In
up in a
anything.
t-shirt and flip
Show up
flops, and they're
In
naturally.
like, yes,
anything.
he's the boss.
Show up in a meeting, no pen, no paper.
And him late.
Yeah.
And then we'll say, yes, at the boss that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
As a woman, you have to be, you have to be strong in what you're doing, because the world is
Strong,
sick if you
strong
don't
and
understand.
strategic.
Strong.
Yes, it's true. But I
Yeah.
fought in a gown, and I've seen what has come from that, the positive things that have come from that in my life, in other people's life. And it hasn't even begun. To be very honest with you, it has not begun. God has a work to do in me, and it has not begun yet. This is the beginning. I claim it, I know it, I feel it.
And with you, because and you're still pretty young, so it's going to be amazing for us to watch as your life
Develops and
builds.
evolves.
And it's beautiful to see that you are willing, like you shut out noise and you focus on ToniAnn and what your purpose is and your skills. And when the whole we did I watch Miss World, because as much as we're going like we don't watch it again, we'll watch it.
Especially when we think we can win.
No, like I feel like we're all watching and saying, but every time we saw a little clip of Toni-Ann doing something leading up or the behind, it was like, what? I feel like we're going place. We definitely place it.
We're in place, but then now when we hear that you're going to sing, all right, yeah man, we'll sing.
Like another one. We have another one there. So
I love the we. I love the we.
The whole way up there is like a chorus behind you, and then we hear Sarah sing Whitney. We say, boy, Tony, Whitney will go far. Whitney will go far. Whitney will just go hard with Whitney.
Go hard and done.
Hard and done.
And you did it. And when we heard Miss Jamaica World is Miss Jamaica, Toni-Ann Singh, and the pot cover them
This
start.
world is
This world. But it's like the pot covers continue, because now there is another generation who is also being introduced to you and as a recording artist, that this beautiful soul stirring voice is entertaining people. It's playing in our cars, and now your voice is in our head. What's that like, that segue? Because that whole recording industry and being an artist, being on stage, and that's a whole other level too of fishbowl.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
is that like, and putting that part of yourself out?
Well, I have to be honest with you. When I'm on stage in any capacity, even this in some ways for me is being on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I feel at home.
Mm.
And I know where that comes from. When I was very young, if I showed interest in anything, I mean anything, I had the type of mother that was like, okay, that's okay. All right, okay, yeah. So I said I want to try ballet. Okay. I said I want to read. Oh, we were in the library. Okay. And I said I love to sing, and she found a way. She found voice classes. She found stages for me to sing on. So I spent most of my childhood on a stage in some capacity, and I was singing in church a lot. My first time singing, like even recording, I was 9 years old. And so it's been something I've always loved. I remember in college, I thought, okay, well, when you're a child, you do child things, and then now you're an adult, you put those things away. And so I didn't even sing for the first like 2 years of college. Nobody knew I could sing. I didn't sing in church. I just shut it out.
Wow.
And then I don't know. Maybe I wanted to see who I was.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see who I was without it. I don't regret it. I just think it's interesting that I made that choice. And then I started singing again, and I couldn't stop. I just couldn't. I didn't know that Miss World would give me the opportunity to sing on such a large stage. I didn't know that I would have that chance. But when God opens a door for me, let me tell you something. Me, Toni-Ann Singh, I'm going to step through it. I'm going to pray about it first, and I'm going to be like, yeah, sure. And then I am stepping through it. And I stepped through it, and I got this opportunity to sing on this stage. And then I got another opportunity. And I think you'll actually like this story. So I broke my ankle last year in March. A couple,
I remember
literally,
because
I handed my crown over and then broke my ankle, like the very next week. And I'm thinking, God, why are you doing this? I don't understand. And I didn't know it was broken for a week. So I'm walking on it. And I even flew to Jamaica on a broken ankle, expecting to record for like some film or something like that. And I just couldn't. The day that I was supposed to film, I found out, no, it's actually broken, clean through the bone. And they're like, how on earth are you walking? When it broke, I didn't make a sound. I went, and it's broken through the bone. Yeah, a big pain threshold, I suppose. So my ankle is broken. I'm in a cast, one of those heavy plaster casts in Jamaica. And I'm talking to a very, very good friend of mine, and I'm saying, I just don't understand what God's doing. And he's saying to me, like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I just want a studio. Really, I just want to sing. And he's like, okay. And I'm sitting on a couch in a living room. And he's like, okay, all right. And he leaves. And I'm like, okay, it's fine. Comes back with a microphone, with a producer, with a speaker. And I'm sitting on a couch. I can't stand. People have to carry me to the couch. So I'm like, no, this is not what I mean. I mean, just like I want some, music, and then I'll write the music, and then I'll go to a studio. And he's like, you can do that too, but right now, you're gonna sing something. You're gonna listen. They're gonna play beats for you. If you don't like that one, say skip, but you're gonna sing. And I'm talking to God. I'm like, God, please. And then I said to myself, I wish I could just get up and run. Lord of mercy. I wish I could just get up and run. And I'm like, you made me wanna run.
wow.
And in like 15 minutes, I write out the little chorus, and I'm nervous and I'm shaking and I cannot relax trying to sing it over the track. And everybody's like, just, it's fine, it's good, just relax. And I'm like, I'm not, my leg is, because I want this opportunity, you know. But I thought, you know, when you dream of how things are going to happen, you're thinking you're going to be in the best state of your life and you're just going to go in and you're so prepared. No. But I told you, when God opens a door for me, Toni-Ann Singh, I'm going to walk through it. So pray, sang it. Next thing I know, it's next to me.
Wow.
You always say that. You always say when God opens a door, you walk through it.
Yes.
What are the doors that you want him to open for you next?
I've learned that I have no idea. I've learned that I really don't know. I know that I would love to be on a movie screen. I would love to act. I enjoy making people feel something. Like, I really do. I love to see joy on other people's faces, especially when I'm able to curate it. I love to see when I'm singing and I'm feeling so much and I'm going towards, you know, the top, and I see other people taking the journey with me. Like, I love it. So I would love that opportunity. I want to make more music. I want to be on a stage. I want God to lead me, though. I don't want anything that is not for me. Because sometimes you'll think things are for you and you'll go for them so hard, and you learn also, you know, that very hard lesson. So I pray a lot. I'm like, God, if it's not where I'm supposed to be, don't send me there, you know. And if you see me anywhere, let me tell you something. And this is true. If you see me anywhere, me, Toni-Ann Singh, you have to know God sent me there. Because I'm not going. I'm not going unless I get a word. I forgot make that move. They told me. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then also, you know, when I was young, like I said, I sang a lot. I grew up in the Adventist church, and I was giving concerts when I was 10. I was ministering. And I didn't really know anything about the hardships of life. I was just singing, and I could see people reacting. And as I grew, I understood what I was singing even more. And then I just, you know, lost myself in it. But I always prayed this same prayer. I said, God, use me as the vessel. God, use me as the vessel. Rid me of myself. Use me as the vessel, so that I know whatever is delivered out of my mouth, that's exactly how you intended it to be delivered. I remember I was singing for a lot of churches like every week, and I was killing them. Listen, I was singing How Great Thou Art, and I had high notes, and I was mashing it up. Yeah, mashing it up. And so I'm now singing for camp meeting. This is when all the big churches come together. And I am about to get on stage and I pray. But this time, and I'll never forget it, I'm 16. At this time, I said, God, use me to the best of my ability. And I got on stage and I tried to sing a high note, and a screech. God help me. A screech came out of my throat. I'm talking thousands of people in the audience, and people are watching it live. A screech came out of my throat. And on stage, I'm like, and I just muscle through it. You know, I get through it, and everybody's like, wow, she fought the devil on stage, you know, and she still killed it, and she finished her last high note. But I knew what I had done. I had said, use me to the best of my ability. And I swear to you, I imagine God like,
Okay.
All right.
ability.
We're gonna show you what your ability looks like.
You bad with that. All right, go on.
Absolutely. We're gonna show you what your ability is capable of.
So no, like, that's how I learned the lesson early. Listen, I am the vessel, God. Please, I cannot do anything by myself. I cannot sing a note by myself. Just use me, and if it comes out a certain way, I don't sweat it, because that's how God decided it needed to be delivered.
Wow.
Amen.
I have a quick question. Now that you are, I mean, next to me is awesome. How do you feel going on stage with a song that you wrote and having people singing it back to you?
Listen, I've always had this dream that I would, because Beyonce does it, and she's a blueprint of sorts because she's really shown us a very positive side of still being a celebrity, keeping your privacy, all this stuff. Beyonce will be on stage and be like, sing. And we're like, hear what it is. Beyonce told me to sing. So I've always envisioned it when I'm in the mirror, I'm like, sing. And Burna Boy had a concert in Jamaica, and it was my first time performing next to me. And of course, I have like a wonderful mentor. I have somebody that really cares and is giving me like training wheels kind of
Yes.
opportunity. Um, and I don't take that lightly either. So I'm in it, and I'm like, you know what, Tony, try it. I don't know what made me so bold. I have no idea, because I could have been so embarrassed. I said, sing. And people sang, and you just see me like stop for a second and jump up and down, like, because that's a dream. That's a dream. Listen, I don't take any of it lightly. People singing it, people playing it affecting anybody in a positive way. Like, I don't take it lightly. I'm so grateful because we all have dreams, but we don't always get to see them realized. And that God has chosen, He's seen fit to give me these opportunities. I'm grateful.
ToniAnn,
Wow.
you don't see what your name is?
See?
Toni-Ann
right.
Singh. Okay?
Yes, it is a call to action.
Purpose.
So we know that your mom has had a major impact on your life. I mean, even when they asked you on stage at Miss World, who has had, the greatest impact, and you said your mommy. You have now taken on a role of impact for so many. What does that feel like to you? How, what kind of responsibility comes with that?
You don't want to mess up. Like, we're all human, and you try to grant yourself that space to be human and to have your own human experiences, because that's all we're having, just our very separate, very wild human experiences. But you don't want to mess up, really, because you understand what representation is. Like, when I say Beyonce, it's not just because everybody loves Beyonce, but she has made it her mission to be a positive reflection of what's possible, and I want to do the same thing within obviously my human experience. So I try, one, to be very, very private about my life, unless it's necessary. And then also, I want to be honest. And okay, I read this book called The Outliers. It's a great read.
Yes, it's a great book. We're fans.
Yeah, and it talks about the truth that a lot of people will be like, I pulled myself up by the bootstraps. But no, when I say opportunity, it really is that, like, having a phone, having a computer, having parents that care, having a mom that will drive you to practices. These are opportunities that all come together. They combine to create this chance for you to become this person.
Yes.
So I don't want anybody to look at me and be like, wow, she just ran up there, or she's been able to sing her whole life, or she just because it's not the case. I have had some of the most amazing opportunities for education, for a family that cares. Even when I wanted to sing, I had sponsors for my classes. I had sponsors for ballet. I had sponsors because for some reason those opportunities were mine. So I think being honest about myself, I think being careful with what I share, as well as I also give myself space to grow, and then also protecting my mental health so that I can be positive is also very important. And I do that by, I journal a lot. I write. But when I was very
Journal over here. That's this entire group. We have a problem.
when I was in college, I was crying at the park, and I called my mom. I'm crying. I don't even remember what I was crying about at the time. You're in college, you're just bawling. And I'm like, Mom. And she goes, well, if you don't want to say it to me, say it to the wind. And I'm like, but you know what? And then as I'm older, I'm starting to think about it and I'm like, she's not really necessarily saying I need to go and like shout my feelings to the wind unless I want to, but she's saying, find a place to put it where
Great.
it's safe.
Yes.
And listen, my brain is perplexing me. I'm like, listen to me. I cannot believe. And it comes off of me. I swear to you, it is off of me.
Yeah.
Most of the time, we just need release. That's
Yeah.
Yes.
really like soul needs release. And then we start to release it in very weird ways that often impact other people negatively because they're having their own human
Yeah.
experience. So I write it down and I'm like, whew, okay, that's off of me and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
But yeah, very, very careful with my mental health.
Um,
That's
So
beautiful.
long-winded. I realized like
No,
I just
you're not.
You're
You're
not
just
long-winded at all.
then you make us feel like we are long-winded because we love the chatting. But
Yeah.
ToniAnn, we share. I mean, we have so much in common. I
okay,
mean,
Rochelle. Yes.
save for the fact that I'm a little older than you, we
Just
would
a
have been
little bit.
stage together. So you may have come second in Miss Jamaica because I would have won. So we're being
True, yeah.
together. When you said that your mother said to say it to the wind, when I called my mother from Barbados to tell her that I was finished and I was coming home, she was like, I like it. I like how you're feeling and expressing your feeling, but I'm gonna need you to express it for another year and a half.
Bravo.
So you finish the degree and then you come back home with that degree. You hear what I say? And as you mentioned, just opportunity and that you don't take, because sometimes we forget the little things and the big things that have had to be in place for us to be where we are. And I love that you celebrate it. Of course, the other thing that we have in common is we know some people did say when you peel the pear, I eat a pear. And everybody know me and pear. It
Mhm.
makes my heart. It makes a meal. A meal. I put pear in everything.
For those that are not
I
from
was,
Jamaica,
I
that's
was,
an
I was
avocado.
wondering,
Oh, Pierre,
I was
yeah.
wondering if we were gonna skip over that whole thing because I realized we're getting closer to the end of the show, and I'm like, how are we not
So
gonna
the
address
show
the
done.
pair in the room?
I thought we could have left the elephants alone, but no, I love pear. I have a problem. I eat pear avocado every day. And when I cannot find it, I'm in misery. So like when I'm telling you I'm gonna peel it and bite it if that's what I have to do, listen to me. Every day. I love pear. And it's good in omega-3s, healthy
Mm.
fats, great for
Healthy
your
fat.
It's
skin.
good fat. Yeah, healthy fat.
See, I
Eat
can say
pear.
I'm
Yeah,
eating one.
see, Auntie said she
But
eating one without
also,
me
it's
here
not.
right now.
Also, it's not peeling the pear with our teeth and then biting into it though.
No, you
No, but I
don't
had
need
no utensils.
you don't need no
I had
utensils.
listen, I had a power bread. If you come from St. Thomas, you know it is a power bread.
Yeah.
Right. Warm and the cheese. I mean never want to get cold and kind of rough and tough. And so I'm like, all right, warm, but can't
This
cut the
is
pear. So
this
I'm
is
gonna
a, this is a judgment-free zone, but I'm judging you, Toni-Ann.
and you know what,
But
I'll take it. I'll take it. That's one I'll take. I'll say it to the wind later because the pear did nice and
Nice.
dry.
Yeah,
Very nice.
and you try it too. So you did put the pear in the paw bread and squeeze.
no.
Simia,
Oh, you need to go watch the
bite
video,
and
Rashi. You need to
bite.
go watch the video.
No, I know because I put it in the things.
Usually I
No,
do, but I never
Rochelle,
have
she
the
never put it in nothing,
So
utensils.
it's
nothing. Like
when she was
like she
flexing
treats it
it.
like an apple, like just an apple.
I don't
No, when
sorry no,
you
I'm
look
not
there,
sorry
it's
none at all.
beautiful. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful sight. It's
Yeah,
a
and
beautiful.
I'm in St. Thomas, I'm home. I don't have
Mhm.
nobody to impress. But
Yeah.
then later on, my cousin sent me the video, and I was like, "This is hilarious. This is actually very funny." And that's what I mean. I want people to kind of get to know me a little better.
Yes.
I'm very private, and there has to be a better balance than me just being like,
Yeah. Nice to see. And the pair pretty, The pair
"God,
pretty.
it is
Yeah,
nice."
I'm not gonna lie. It was a nice looking pair. It was a
Oh
nice
my
Very
looking
pair.
goodness. Pretty and dry and it was perfect. It was perfect, and I got it for like $100, $200 in the market. So good. In Kingston, the pears are very dear.
Very dear.
Mm-hmm.
And
Very
Mm-hmm.
they
dear.
are skinned. But you know, sometimes you see when you love pear, sometimes you get some ugly pear, you know, and you know, so the pear not gonna eat good, but you just quarrel with the pear and eat the pear same way.
You just do what you have to do. That's what I mean. I love it every day. So even if it's not great. And then, you know what's interesting? In America, they give us the Mexican.
Yes,
And
little
those
small
little
one.
ones.
Yes.
Yeah,
And they
But
take
I
very
was
long
in
to ripe.
Puerto Rico and they have the same pears as us. They're
yeah,
big and they're nice. And oh my
yeah.
goodness. It's interesting to see the different regions and what type of pear, but pear appear same way. So
So my sister-in-law is from Mexico, and she said that the small pear is the only one that is good to make guac, because our pear it's too dry and it's too big, so you don't get the moisture that you need to make the guac properly.
oh, you know what? Because we don't really make guacamole like that.
Guacamole, yeah,
Yeah, that's not
Really,
our thing.
yeah,
yeah.
No,
we don't
we
really
can
even
leave
know.
the pear long enough to make no guac. We eat a pear when the pear is ripe.
What?
So I eat a pear.
I'm gonna
Listen.
bring some of Marissa's guac for you, and it will change your life,
No, I
Rashid.
love it. Bring it, come.
I want
So
some.
Oh yeah.
Barbie says you are never what they expect. The prettiness is just an accessory.
Sorry. Yeah.
Oh,
Which
thanks,
says that
Barbie.
she loves your positivity and your humility.
Oh my
Hi,
God.
Brit. You know, being pretty it's not really, it's like a new thing, to be very honest. In my mind, I think I got more attractive in the face after the sun came on because no, I'm so serious. Because my whole life I wasn't really like the pretty one. I have a very, very pretty cousin. She's actually Miss Jamaica Universe this year. You saw her in the nanny costume in the green.
Yes,
Yes.
Very pretty.
She's always been very tall, very pretty. I'm more the talkative one, kind of nerdy. So it's very funny to have like people talking about pretty when pretty wasn't really on my cards for a very
Sorry,
long
you
time.
said after the song and not even after Miss World or after Miss Jamaica World?
No, I'm saying to me personally, it's
Yeah.
like after the sun come on, I say, you know what kind of pretty
They're kind of pretty. They're kind of pretty, but true.
Listen, it's so funny how we all sing that song to the top of our lungs. Like, yeah, Toni-Ann Singh.
I always think about one, the fact that I'm kind of immortalized in a way because there are people all over the world just singing my name. Like the fact that he did that is so amazing. And then bear with me, I think there has to be something powerful in so many people singing my name. Like I feel like there's something manifesting there, something wonderful for me manifesting there because it's positive and it's my name in reference to me and thousands of people. I've like
From
literally
Millions of people.
From all over the world.
Millions of people.
it's unreal. Like I said, I don't take it lightly at all. I don't
Listen,
take
I
it
have a friend in LA, and she reached out to me when that song came out, and she's just like, "Do you know her?"
lightly.
And they made a whole song about her, and she's gorgeous. Like she's just like,
Thank
yeah.
you. But what's funny is it says, "Gal, you're pretty like."
That's right.
So he might just be saying
Let me
to
hear what he's saying.
somebody, "You are pretty like." And I also like think about it this way. You know, a Miss World, the first Black Miss World or Brown Miss World in 20 years.
Because
And
you were in that year when we had all
yes,
the Black
yes.
reigning queen.
Everybody was
phenomenal.
a Black, a brown woman. Yes.
No,
color,
I'm sorry. We have
color.
to pause for a minute. So this is my 6-year-old niece that I told you.
Hi, Livy. How are you? You're pretty
Oh my
light.
God.
You're pretty done.
No, and she have curly hair and everything like
could
you.
bring-
So
I
when
wish we
she
could add
see you,
Livy
it
to-
just
to-
is like.
Chat. There's no way
Hi,
to
Livy,
add to
love
send
you.
her the stream and add Livy to the chat.
Catherine is like, Catherine is like,
Or I can. Let's see if her mother will accommodate her
and
request.
people can pop in. Oh,
Gabby,
And so there's Livy, and then there is somebody else with Livy.
Cindy.
Hi, Cindy.
Hey, Doc say you better send me the link because my name is Toni-Ann tonight.
Not ramping with you tonight, yeah.
so
Not tonight.
as we probably line up, Lizzie, today is International Women's Day, and you have mentioned so much about your mother, and it just, I mean, of course, it pulled on my heart when you said, when you're like, I want to do ballet, and she's like, all right.
Mhm.
If your mother, just a shout out to her, what she has meant for you up to this stage and how she has been such a foundation for you.
Wait, make me warn you that we are very bolly
I
over
was
here.
saying,
Yeah, and I'm like, oh
do we
God, we
turn
must
into
just
the
send
body
her
body
because
show, guys? Because I know Tony and going ball.
I'm not, especially because we had this talk. No, I cannot cry. So let me. What can I say? Um, hmm. You see, when you're growing, you need somebody around you to be willing to sacrifice. That's the reality of it. There are some people that are not willing to sacrifice on behalf of their children, and sometimes like you see the effects of that. I have friends where I can see the effects of that. Jerry, it was just, I mean, I take it very personally when people don't treat my mother well, because if you like me, if you think any ooh, if you if you think anything about me is good or positive, you have my mother to thank. When people treat her weird because maybe she hasn't had as much opportunity as I have had, I take it so personally because it is off of her. Yes, all right, well on. It is off of her back. It is her sweat and tears why I get to be so whatever it is you think I am.
Yeah.
Really. And I think about the fullness of what motherhood is, and if I would be able to someday do it. And like if I'm even half, even quarter of what my mother was to me. I mean, like I was singing everywhere because that's what I love to do. I was given every chance. There was nothing I needed that she wouldn't find a way to get. And I wrote in my journal actually this week. Um, we always made each other home. We had each other. And even if I was on stage and people saw something great, um, only she and I knew the truth of what we were up against or what we were fighting against. And it's always still been the same thing, that it's it's us. It's us against the world. It is her prayers, it is her sacrifice, it is her love, which sometimes can be overbearing and can stress me out, but I know she just wants me to be okay. And
Yeah.
it's her wisdom, it is her fight, it is the fact that like now as an adult I can look and be like, how did she manage to make so little work, or and I'm just in awe. And like when you get older, you start to kind of get frustrated with parents because you're like, okay, it's time now. You have to let me be an adult. We have those quarrels, and I want to be honest about that. We do have them. I'm like, Jerry, I'm an adult, but I cannot imagine like a world that she's not in, where she's not bothering me about making the right choices. And when I pray, I ask God, because she's taught me to ask God. I yield. I allow myself to be a vessel because she taught me to yield and to allow myself to be a vessel. So again, I say anything good you like about me. You think I'm funny, you think I'm witty, pretty, even those are her cheekbones, like it is her. Okay, I don't want to talk about moms anymore because I'm really staying strong. It is International Women's Day. And I want to really say to just women, like really quick, the sacrifices that we make are great, but they're necessary. We are the lifeblood of our communities, of our countries, of our world. It is imperative that we have mothers that pour into their daughters, because we are the people that teach and continue traditions and keep culture alive and keep faith alive and keep hope alive. This is it's our duty, and it is not easy. So on International Women's Day or on any day, we have to protect our peace. We have to take care of ourselves. That is what we owe to ourselves
Yeah.
while carrying the banner that's been given to us. So when I say I journal, or Rochelle was talking about just taking a moment to herself, these things are so necessary,
Important.
because only when we fuel ourselves can we continue to do the work that is required of us in the rest of the world.
Mm.
And I am passionate about that. I'm not always perfect at it, but I want us to know, like, we have to do that. It's so important. Okay.
Absolutely.
Does it sound like I'm preaching? It feels like I'm preaching. I'm gonna
That's
stop.
okay. You can preach.
We're doing this.
It's a word that we need to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's a
Thank you
real
for
thing. It's
saying
something
yes.
to myself too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. See, Tammy said she needed to hear that. She said
This
it was
sound
just a
like living
reminder
not
that
joining our
sacrifice
lives.
is
Is that what that
honest.
means, Catherine?
What?
This sound like living not joining our lives.
She's on, but she's she's not ready yet for everybody else to see her.
Oh, she's getting. I was telling you, I got a beautiful video from a little girl this week, and she sent with it a voice note and was like, "Please let Toni-Ann see this, and then have her send me back a voice note about if she loves it and if she loves my hair, because I did my hair just like her." And I'm thinking,
Uh,
lie, but it's so cute. And to think that I want that. I want my music to be something that um creates like a good feeling. I want it to
Yeah.
be something that anybody can listen to. So seeing all these kids singing it and enjoying themselves, that's, also a dream.
yes.
Mhm.
Wow.
Well, Tony, and thank you. Thank you for joining us. Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being present on today, especially our International Women's Day. We were very intentional about having you today. So we were happy that you said yes.
Yes.
No, thank you so much for having me. And like I said before, I don't take it for granted. I'm trying to show more of myself, and I want comfortable spaces to do that. And I really appreciate you reaching out to me and giving me a comfortable space to do that.
Yay.
Thank
And if you
you.
remember, Toni-Ann said, she only goes where knows she's supposed to go.
That's
Yeah, it's
right.
Same
true.
here.
And I pray
But see,
about it, and I'm like, God, are you sure? So it's a real thing.
this is Doc.
No, see.
Doc said, "Hey, Tony and Sing." Boy, thanks for the big up. You're so amazing, beautiful, authentic, and I commend you on your expression of your virtue of faith.
Oh, thank you, Doc. You said Doc, right?
Doc, yes.
Doc, as in the only
Yes.
prenatal,
Neonatal. Yep.
okay, neonatal doctor in the Caribbean, and
That
she's a
is
woman.
right.
How's that
And
for your
she's
international?
a
Happy
woman. She's a
International
hot girl too,
Women's
you
Day,
know.
Dr. Cindy.
Yeah, that's it.
So
Sonia,
guys, thank
no,
you for joining us. Tony, and where can people find you?
All right,
yes.
we
We
need
never
to
Yes,
heard
have
okay.
nobody's
all
So
following
right,
you
we need
already.
to have Dr. Cindy on the show, guys.
I told her that already. I
So we're just
warned
telling
her.
you from now, Cindy.
see there.
Get
So
ready.
okay, at Toni-Ann Singh on all social media platforms. And then if you're on my Instagram, you can click the email me link and you can reach out to me there. My team is like more than ready to look at any bookings or anything like that. And like I said, and we've already established, I go where God sends me. So make sure God send you. But aside from that, that's where you can find me. Pretty simple. Toni-Ann Singh.
Wonderful. Thank
Mhm.
you. Guys, don't forget to like, subscribe, share this episode. I mean, I'm sure that all of us were pleasantly surprised with what we got tonight because we got to see a side of Tony that we don't normally get to see. And follow us on LinkedIn because it's brand new for us. We just joined LinkedIn. What
Yes.
last week or the week before. So follow
Well,
us on LinkedIn at Ready to Emerge, and we will see you next week.
yeah.
All
But
right, good night.
Torian, as you go, tonight you expressed openly your faith, and we just pray God's blessing over
Yes,
every area
please.
of your life, from the crown of your head to the sole of your feet, and that
Mm.
God will continue, that you will continue to listen to His wording, His direction, and that the doors that He has for you are doors that cannot be shut. You will always be victor, never a victim. You are the head and
Not
never the
the
tail.
tail.
And we are just praying that every area of your life is covered and surrounded, and that what people will hear is not just you pretty like Toni-Ann Singh, but you're faithful like Toni-Ann Singh, a
Yes.
faithful servant like Toni-Ann Singh.
I
Hallelujah.
accept and I receive that. And I ask everybody listening, whenever you're listening, pray for me. Seriously, I need it.
Amen.
Send it. Okay, send the prayers up. I really appreciate it so much. Thank you, Rochelle. You're
Amen.
so eloquent
Amen.
that, like, when you're talking, my goosebumps, I'm like, yes,
She's a real preacher. Here.
Yeah.
Bye,
I need
guys.
something. All right. Good night, everyone.
One
Thank
person
you.
just like,
Listen,
bye, everybody.